Welcome, Darnley.
Thank you.
We'd like to hear more about what your business is about and the objectives and goals that you're trying to achieve.
Okay. Well, my business is, as just speaking very broadly, as a consultant and advisor in matters related to financial management, whether raising capital or investing capital. I've focused my business primarily on those doing business in developing countries. It's been primarily in Africa. I also sort of leave the door open for the Americas, sort of Latin America and the Caribbean as well. But just as a result of the way relationships developed, the way economies in various countries have developed, that sort of led me in mostly in that direction. Part of what I do has to involves preparing companies to be presentable to investors, helping them to prepare business plans and budgets and proposals in order to raise capital. I also help them to organize their accounting so that their books are in order and so that they're actually being able to provide the best financial information, not only for themselves as managers, but also to their other stakeholders.
Rahul, do you have a question?
Yes. So in your daily business activities, who would you describe as a typical client? Like, what are your typical clients like?
Well, a client might be, for example, a company in Ghana that's a growth company that's been in operation for maybe 4 or 5 years, developed a fairly decent business, and is looking to expand. It's looking to go to the next stage of their growth trajectory. And for that, they require capital. And through referrals, that company might come to us, come to me. I have worked under a couple of different umbrellas, but I'm thinking of one specifically where I'm working with a partner where we pool our various networks of investors who are interested in their industry and or their region of the world, and present that company to those investors, and then walk them through the process.
Okay.
How is it?
That's great.
How did you wind up choosing this particular niche for your business?
Well, it goes back to, again, going back to those college years where I became interested in international business. I found myself also interested in business in the developing world, partly because I found that there are places where not everything had been done, so to speak. There was a lot of need, there was a lot of demand for skills, for investment, for a lot of things. So it seemed like a place where I could maybe make a contribution. And also, I thought of them as sort of growth countries, the way you think of growth companies. So that they're on a steeper path that way. And I thought that would be something good to be a part of.
Could you mention one task or project that you worked on of which you are the most proud?
Well, I know there's one situation where I'm working with a consulting firm in Ghana. This is going back about 20 plus years. We were working on privatizations. Ghana at the time was involved in a series of privatizations of their state-owned enterprises. And we worked on one in particular involving the cocoa industry, which in Ghana is a very important industry. It's one of their biggest export earners, and they're one of the largest cocoa producers in the world. So cocoa they consider strategic.
Wow.
And we were involved in the privatization of a company that buys cocoa from the farmers and then turns around and sells it on the international market. As it was quite interesting, it involved putting to work a lot of the analytical skills and financial training that I had acquired. It also involved understanding how those would be applied in the context of a different business culture and in the context of that particular country. Privatizations themselves can be controversial and can attract a lot of attention depending on how they're done. So we paid a lot of attention to doing it the right way.
I have one question. So what would be the direction of your business going forward?
Well, at this point, I'm interested in focusing, first of all, on there are a few key industries where we found that there's need, and we found that we're able to add some value. One is renewable energy. There's a lot of interest in providing power. And first of all, just because of the lack of electric power delivery in Africa, and combine that with, of course, the need to be conscious of climate change and things of that nature, makes renewable energy an important sector. So we're spending a lot more time on renewable energy, on infrastructure generally, and also on things on water, things like water and sanitation. What has become known as kind of WASH, kind of the buzzword. But there are a lot of issues related to water and sanitation, and I've become aware of certain technologies that can be helpful in addressing those problems. And I'd like to be involved in bringing those to where they're needed.
Well, it sounds like you are going to be very busy for a very long time, because we're just beginning to decide that climate change requires some aggressive stance and some really high motivation. So we are so happy that you took the time to tell us about your business. We are excited to hear the interesting things that you're involved in.
Only that I think that there are the way business and both the national and global economies are evolving. They're leading us to look at things differently. I know that the way people coming out of business schools, for example, approach their careers and are approaching the world economy is a lot different from the way it was when I came out. And I think that that's going to lead to some interesting opportunities. I think that if one thinks in sort of a balanced way and thinks in terms of long-term goals, then that can lead to some good outcomes, some constructive outcomes.
Well, again, we thank you for your time, and the conversation was very interesting, and appreciate you providing those insights. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Okay,
A pleasure.
and that's a wrap.
Thank you so much.